Hello everyone and welcome to week 1 of CSC-120 Computing Fundamentals with Python. So the purpose of this video is to introduce you to week 1 of the class, kind of get you familiar with the way the checklists work in Blackboard, how to get to Blackboard, how to get to YouTube if you want to watch any of the videos out there, and you probably should, because there's just, even if you're in a seated class, there's not enough time to cover all the material that we have in the class. So without further ado, let me share my desktop where you can see what's going on. And that's my YouTube channel. I can show you how to get to that, or you can just go to YouTube and search on Ken Clifton RCCC, and that should bring it up. And so once you've got that, you can see the videos showing up there from the class. And there's actually a playlist. There's a playlist for each class that I have. So this is my channel, and if you click on playlist, you can see that there's one for CSC-120 Computing Fundamentals. That's the first class that we expect programming students to have taken. And then once you have completed the CSC-120 class, then there is a CSC-121, which is a graphical Python class. So we have both of those classes going this semester. However, the class that we're in is this first one. If you click on the playlist, you can see that it's going to start going through each of the videos here, and I'm going to update. I'm actually doing this video for week 1 of the class right now, so it will just keep rolling through these videos. So let's go into Blackboard. Let's go into Blackboard and take a look at the class. So you don't have to go to the RCCC website in order to get into Blackboard. You can just open up a browser, and if you watch what I type here, it's just rccc.blackboard.com. And if you hit enter, that will take you to the sign in for Blackboard, and you should see all your classes listed here under my courses. So you should see a section for this class, CSC 120, and depending on whether you're taking it in a synchronous class where we have weekly meetings, or whether you're taking it purely online, your number here on the end of CSC 120 will be different. So you could have, if it's fully online, you could have 800 in. If it's a class that meets on, I believe this one meets on Tuesdays, and this 802 meets on Wednesdays. Let's just check, make sure I told you right. Yep, I did. So all right, so let's click into this class, and we can start talking about how to get around in the class and what is expected the first week of class. And so once you're into Blackboard, you want to make sure, and I'm going to just check to make sure that that I am streaming. Yeah, I am. Okay. So once you're into Blackboard, the very first thing that you should do is the EVA for the class. Until you do that EVA, you're not going to be able to see anything in the class. So that's one good reason to do it. And if you don't do that EVA in the first day or two of class, you'll start getting behind because this 14-week class, and we have a lot of stuff that we do each week. And so make sure that you get in here and do the EVA where it'll open things up so that you can see them. So another reason for doing the EVA is that you'll get removed from the class. If you don't do it by the September 9th deadline, you will get removed from this class. So I'm going to click on Start here where I'm mousing right here and go into the EVA so you can see how that works. So there it is, very top thing, enrollment verification assignment due September 9th. So I'm going to click into that. And then I'm going to click on Begin. Now, you only have to get a score of 1 on this thing in order to be entered into the class. And we don't use the grade from this in your grade calculation, so there's no really advantage to you of getting anything more than a 1. Although I know that some of you are overachievers and you're going to try to get the highest grade possible on everything, even if that grade's not used. So I want to make sure that those of you that want to get absolute most points on the EVA know how to do that. So I'm going to click on Begin. And you can see here my question 1 has got these squares to the left of each of the answers. So when you see squares to the left of answers to a question in Blackboard, make sure you understand that that's a multiple answer question. That means that more than one thing can be picked. On the EVA, the Enrollment Verification Assignment, if you want to get the highest score possible, just go down here and check every single thing. Now, on my classes that I have in Blackboard, I would never give you a question where every single item needed to be checked. But on the EVA, if you want to get the highest amount of points possible, just go through here and check every single thing and hit Save and Submit down here, the blue button that says Save and Submit, and you will be entered into the class. Everything will be unlocked where you can see what's out there, and you won't have to worry about getting removed from the class on September 9th. So, and we actually have stuff that we're doing this first week that's due. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of that because I'm an instructor. I can't really submit that EVA. Okay, it messes things up if I do. So once you've done the EVA, then when you click on course content, you will be able to see the course schedule of topics. You'll be able to see module 1. So these things will not be there if you haven't done the EVA. So now that we've done the EVA, the next thing to do is to go to the discussion board. This is a graded assignment. The discussion board. Did you see where I clicked on the left side over here in Blackboard? Go to the discussion board, click on Getting to Know You, but before you click on Getting to Know You, I want to point some things out to you. You get points for this assignment. It's a graded assignment. You get 20 points for each of these things. So there are 5 things that we're looking for. If you do all 5, well, then you get 100 as your grade. So you get 20 points if your post mentions your academic goals, whether you're working on a major degree or a diploma or what. You get 20 points if your post mentions your professional goals. You get 20 points if your post mentions your experience with internet courses. You get 20 points if your post mentions what you'd like to cover in the class, one thing. You get 20 points if you attach a photo to your post, a photo. It doesn't have to be a photo of you. It can be a photo of anything. You, your pet, your car, your computer, a pretty sunset. You figure it out. But you need to have this done by Thursday, the first week of class. So that means that you need to have submitted this assignment, by Thursday. The course opens up on Monday, August 30th, and you need to have this done. The 30th is there, so that's 4 days into the class. You've got 4 days to get this graded assignment done. So make sure that you do a post. The way you do it, let me go back out and just show you again here. You click on Getting to Know You. You click on Create Thread, and then you start writing your post here. Make sure you include those 5 things that we just talked about, and make sure you attach a photo of something, and then hit Submit. And you will make sure you give it a subject too. And you will be in the class. There's the 5 things that you need to make sure you include there with your post. So we've talked about doing the EVA. We've talked about doing the Getting to Know You assignment. The next thing that we're going to talk about, which is a good segue into getting familiar with the class, and that's really the whole purpose of the Icebreaker assignment, which is graded. The whole purpose of that thing is to get you to look around the class and figure out how things work in the class. So I'm gonna back out here to course content. Did you see I just clicked on course content over here on the left? Once you've done the EVA that's behind Start Here to unlock everything, once you've done the Getting to Know You assignment in the discussion board, everything else pretty much for the whole class is going to be behind course content. Course content. So that's where we'll go in a minute. I want to show you the announcements. This is where you land when you open up Blackboard. Okay? And remember, you could save yourself a favorite to rccc.blackboard.com, and you don't have to go to the RCCC website and click on quick links or whatever to get into Blackboard. And that makes it a little bit faster to get into Blackboard for you. So this is the very first assignment, and it's just talking about doing the EVA, and then it talks you through going in and doing the course orientation after you've done the Getting to Know You assignment. So right here is where I wanted to point out. This video that you're watching right now is right here, the week 1 lecture. There are other videos. Each of your projects this week has a video. The first couple projects, the video walks you through doing the whole project, the whole thing. So make sure that you watch these videos, take advantage of that. There's a link to my YouTube channel with all the lectures for the whole class. And so, without further ado, I'm going to take you into the Icebreaker assignment. So I'm going to click here on course content. I'm going to scroll down to module 1. Okay. And let's see if we can find, this is a list of what we need to get done in module 1. Let's see if we can find the Icebreaker assignment. Icebreaker Quiz right here. See it? It says it's due September 1st, which is like Wednesday. That's probably not exactly right. I think I gave you till Sunday to get that done. So the Icebreaker Quiz, I think you've got until Sunday, September 5th, and I will fix that if that's the case. But how can we tell when Blackboard is looking for stuff to be done? If you come over here to course tools, right here, course tools, and come down to calendar, okay, you can see when everything's due for your classes. So if you're using Blackboard the way it's intended to be used, if your instructors are using Blackboard and putting due dates in there, then things will show up on this calendar. And so if you've got a lot of classes going, you can see a lot of different colors out here. I'm going to pick CSC-120, and right here it is. So I'm going to uncheck the development class, and so now you can see I've just got these things showing up. And so if you click on this one, the first thing that's due is, like I mentioned to you, the Getting to Know You assignment, the discussion board, introducing yourself to the class that you get a grade for doing. Then the next things that are due are here on Sunday, September 5th, and you can click on these things and see the Icebreaker, like I mentioned, is due September 5th. The Why Python quiz and course orientation is due on the 5th, and Project 1 is due on the 5th. So you've got a few things that are due out there. Remember, I told you the EVA that unlocks everything for the class. You can see it showing up out there as well. All right, so that's the course calendar, and I got to that again by clicking Course Tools and then Calendar. Okay, so now let's go into the Icebreaker. I clicked on Course Content. If you've done the EVA, you'll be able to see this folder for Module 1, and the Icebreaker Quiz, it says, is here in the Course Orientation folder. So I'm going to go into this Icebreaker Quiz, and I'm going to click on Begin. And so you can see that it says your answers can be saved, and you can go back into this later. So if you want to save your answers and then come back in and keep answering questions, this button right here that says Save All Answers in gray where I'm mousing, that's the button for you. Don't click this one that says Save and Submit until you're ready to have Blackboard grade this. Okay, so it's this Icebreaker Quiz. You notice it's asking us stuff. It says from the syllabus for the class. What does the final test count for? Okay, how much is it worth? Okay, so let's go in and look at the syllabus and see that stuff. Okay, so the syllabus is found behind Start Here. I'm going to actually open up another window to Blackboard. You can have more than one window to Blackboard open at a time. And so I'm going to go in here into my class where I can have the syllabus open at the same time. And Did you notice I have a little map of the world that comes up there for a second when I click that? Sometimes this syllabus thing is a little bit buggy. If yours hangs on that map of the world, click the button that says Start Session and it should take you into the syllabus. I just wanted to make sure you knew about that little bug. On some computers, it seems to hang with that map of the world. And so, and it looks like my Firefox, for whatever reason, the syllabus kind of messed that up. So, all right, clicking on in there, and you can see here's the syllabus for the class. And so I'm in the online class that doesn't have any scheduled meetings, so you're not going to see any meeting times here. If you're in a seated class or a synchronous class this semester is what it actually is, you'll see some meeting times with a link to click into the class meeting there. There's information about me. Here's my office hours meetings. These are links where you can click using Chrome and go into Teams. You don't have to install anything on your computer. You can get in there and you can meet with me during these times. These are the classes that I'm teaching that are actually meeting online. And so you can see I'm not available in those times when I'm actually teaching a class. And so, all right, our book for the class is free. There's a link to the site where the free textbook is. I'll show you, you can go to this site where the free textbook is, and I've got a lot of my lecture materials out there as well. So I'll show you that here in a minute. But we were answering that question on the icebreaker about how much the final exam counted, and right here it is. You can see right there it is, final exam, 10%. So we can go back. We can go back to the icebreaker quiz here, and you can see from the syllabus the final test counts as what percentage was 10%, and I can save my answers. Okay, so I've got that one saved. You can go through here and answer these questions. There's some questions that where you just have to type something in. What email do you agree to check for the duration of the class? Here's one that folks seem to have trouble with answering. I'm not sure why this gives folks trouble, but the requirements for what you need for the class are actually listed on the course syllabus, but I'm going to go ahead and check them here so you can see. We need use of a computer with the Python programming language interpreter. We need the free online textbook. We need some headphones. And that's pretty much it, those three things. Where did I get those things from? The course syllabus actually has those things listed right here. You see where I'm getting them? The textbook, the headphones, and the Python language. So, computer hardware, I want to point this out to you. If you're taking this class and you're an early college student, a lot of them, Rowan Salisbury, they issue them iPads. I know Cabarrus County Schools issues a lot of the students Chromebooks. We do have an option called NetLab where you can remote control a computer at RCCC. But if you're going to do that, email me so I can start asking somebody to create you an account in NetLab. Another option, if you don't want to have to remote control a computer, the college does have some loaner laptops that they can loan students. So if you want to check with the financial aid or go to the navigation station or call them or email them, they may be able to loan you a PC that you can use to do this class. But if you don't have a NetLab account where you can remote control a computer that has this stuff that we need, or you don't have a loaner PC from RCCC, then you won't be able to do the work. So a PC or a Mac will work. So, all right, so we have talked about that stuff, and let me go back to the icebreaker. You can see I'm going to go ahead and save my answers for that question. And this stuff here is asking you to mouse around in Blackboard and figure out what's there. So, what's behind course content? Well, we know course content in Blackboard has got videos. Okay? It's also got modules for the class. The course syllabus is not in the course content section of Blackboard, just so you know. So, going to save all answers. Remember, you can go back into this later and finish up answering the questions on the Icebreaker Quiz. So, let's go look at some of the other stuff that's on the announcements and the checklist for week 1. So right here is the checklist for week 1. I put a checklist out there for each week of the class. The checklist has links to videos, it has assignments that you need to do, and so on. So make sure that each week you go out here and you look at that checklist. This is a checklist for week 1. This is the video that we're in. That's the link to the YouTube channel. This is another reminder to do the EVA right away. Okay? And let's look at the link for the instructor here for a second. Right here is faculty information. You click on that link and you can see, again, just like you saw in the course syllabus, it's got my phone number at RCCC. It's got my email. It's got a link to my personal website where I have some solar stuff and things that I'm into. And you can read and look at my resume, my CV, if you want to see that. I can pop into that for a second just so you can see. Here's my website. You can see this is talking about the classes that I'm teaching this semester. Wanted to mention to you about the resume right there. When I clicked on About, if you want to read about me, you can click on About, and you can read everything about me. And what I did was going through the program at NC State Clean Energy Center for solar. You can see that I've earned a lot of badges from the U.S. Green Building Corporation. So what I wanted to point out is the resume here. The password to the resume is just RCCC, and you can hit enter. Let me make it all caps. RCCC. Okay, so it's all caps, RCCC. So that's my resume. You can see what degrees I have and what certifications right here. So if you're interested in my qualifications, that's the resume. Remember the password to it. So that's a little bit about me. And these are the links to my office hours meetings again. So once you've kind of looked at that stuff and you've done the icebreaker, then the next thing to really do here in week 1 is to get your CodeLab account set up. Now, you don't have to get CodeLab finished this week, but it's good to go ahead and get your account set up and get registered into CodeLab. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop into the course orientation and show you a little bit about CodeLab. So there's Icebreaker. Here's the stuff about CodeLab. This is an important code right here to get you into the class. Okay? And so I'm going to click on registering into CodeLab so you can see, and there's the code. This is just a link to get you into CodeLab. Let's go ahead and click on register a new account with CodeLab. And these are the instructions. Now remember, I told you that eventually you're going to need this code right here to get yourself tied into the CodeLab class. But let me go ahead and take you to CodeLab where you can kind of see what you need to do. So these steps are detailed here with screenshots of what you need to do. Okay? I'm going to click on right here where it says login instructions for students. So I'm going to click on that. Here's CodeLab. Now, you probably don't have an account in CodeLab, especially if you've never set up CodeLab before. So right here, see where I'm pointing where it says don't have an account, register here? That's what you're going to need to click on. Okay? And then you're going to need to click on students. And this is where you're going to put an email in. And make sure you use your RCCC student email. I know that we have early college students in the class. If you use your Rowan Salisbury or your Cabarrus email, sometimes they block this or whatever. So it's just safer to use your RCCC student email, something that looks like that. Okay? Yours is going to have your name and your last name and your first initial and your last 5 of your student ID at student.rccc.edu. You got to put it in there twice. Click I'm not a robot, hit submit, and then you're going to have to wait for that email to come through. Okay? You can't go any farther until you get that email, because that email is actually going to have a link for you to register. And you have to click on that link in the email to finish registering for the class. So that's kind of the way you get set up in CodeLab. So I'm going to go ahead and pop into CodeLab so you can see what you need to do here the first week of class. Okay. turingscraft.codelab.login. I'm already set up, so I can go in here. Okay. And you'll only probably have one link for your class, and you can pop into that class and then go into module 1, and it's going to show when things are due. Now, I may not have put the due dates out here yet for these things, so you may not be able to see them when they're due yet, but they will actually have due dates in here. Okay, the first week of class, you really just need to get yourself set up in CodeLab. But after the first module of the class, these things in CodeLab are actually questions for you to answer. And so next week I'll go in and answer some of these questions. But if you're one of these folks that wants to work ahead, you can start by clicking the plus mark next to Module 1 and go in here and actually start answering these questions. If you click on the first one, it says CodeLab replaces. It doesn't replace your textbook. It doesn't replace the instructor. It doesn't replace the homework programs. It's really none of the above, but just so you can see the way CodeLab works, you can keep answering these things until you get it right. There's no limit on how many times you can answer these questions. So I'm going to hit submit. You can see it says no, I got it wrong. You can see it's got an X there. So I'm going to answer it right now and hit submit, and you can see there's the correct answer. You see I got a check mark. So you just keep going through these things, answering questions until you get all the check marks done. Check marks for all 13 items. And so the way you get a grade for this is when you have finished doing all the CodeLab items, there's actually an assignment in Blackboard that you go into and you just submit a done. CodeLab and Blackboard do not talk to each other. So the only way I know to go in here and count up how many things you got right or wrong is by you submitting that assignment in Blackboard. It also does another thing when you submit that CodeLab assignment. It actually creates a spot for me to key your grade in. So I'm going into Module 1 under Course Content, and I'm going to go down to that CodeLab assignment so you can see right here. Let me go back just so you can see what I did to get there again. Okay. I clicked on Course Content over here, and then inside Course Content, okay, I scrolled down and I clicked on Module 1, and I scrolled down and I went to Module 1, Assignments and Exam. Okay, now here's homework questions for the entire module. But here's the CodeLab assignment. When I click into that, it tells you right here to complete this assignment, you must have created an account in CodeLab, and then you must have done those 13 items. If you did all 13, then you get a grade of 100. And if you click on this underline place right here where it says Mod 1 CodeLab, if you click on that, you see what it says? Nothing to submit here except to submit a comment of done. So that's what creates a spot for me to key your grade in. So I'm going to click this, okay? And there's nothing to attach. So right here where it says add comments, I'm just going to type done, and I'm going to hit submit. When you do that, okay, when you type in done and hit submit, it will have created a spot for me to key your grade into CodeLab, into Blackboard. And so you can see it tells me mine couldn't be done because I'm an instructor, but yours will actually go through with your comment when you hit submit. And that gives me a spot to key your grade in. So that's a little bit about CodeLab and how to do some of the questions in CodeLab, set your account up, how to, once you've done the assignment in CodeLab, to come back into Blackboard, submit the CodeLab assignment in Blackboard by typing done right here in the comment and hit submit. Okay? So next, we're going to create our first Python program. Our very first Python program. And to do that, you're going to need the Tawny programming editor. We'll be using that for the next 14 weeks. So make sure that you get that and put it on your computer. So I'm going to click on Course Content again. I'm going to come down and click into Module 1. And getting the Thonny programming editor is in Module 1. And let's see if we can find it here. Right here, you see where it is? Thonny Python program editor material. How to install Thonny and all that. So I'm going to click on that link. If you're running Windows, let's see. If you're running Windows, you click into here, and the instructions for installing Thonny on Windows are here. If you're running a Mac, here's the instructions for putting it on a Mac. Okay? So if you click into those instructions, you can see it says download link for the Windows version of Thonny, and if I click that, you can see it's going to get Thonny 3.3.2. I've already got Thonny, so you'll just need to follow these instructions. The number has changed. It changes constantly, so don't get confused by the fact that it says 2.1 here. Every time they make a change to Thonny, they update the numbers there. So once you've got Thonny installed, you can create your first Python program. So I'm running Linux. I know we've got a few folks in the class that are running Linux as well. And yes, there is a version of Thonny for Linux as well. So I'm going to start Thonny up, and let's go through and create that's a program I was helping my wife with. Okay, so here's Thonny, and you'll have an empty screen like this. We write our programs up here in the top window where it says Untitled. When we run our programs, what happens comes out down here in the bottom window that's known as the shell window. So there's a ritual in programming. Every language that you take, usually they have you write your very first computer program. It's called usually something to print hello world. And so let's do that. Let's write our first computer program so you can see the way this works. So up here in this top window, I'm going to write print, P-R-I-N-T. I'm going to put a parenthesis, and then I'm going to put another parenthesis. Now, that actually is a full Python program that would print a blank line down here in the shell window. But we actually want something to come out down there. So right here inside these parentheses, I'm going to put something to print. Okay? Now, what has to happen here is you have to have whatever you want to print inside of quotation marks. Okay? So as you notice, I have a double quote there and a double quote there. So if you could also use single quotes. Python doesn't care if you put single quotes or double quotes, but if you start with a single quote, you've got to finish with a single quote. Okay? So what we want to print is hello world. So hello world. Okay? You notice I put it inside the quotation marks. That's what's known as a string literal. You'll find out more about that in Module 2 of the class. But right now, we're going to write our first program. So Python is a very easy language to use. It is one of the most powerful languages that we have, and it runs on everything from printers to watches to iPads to Android phones, Macs, Windows, Linux, you name it, without change. So the same program will work everywhere. So let's run this program. You notice I have a green dot there with a green dot with a white arrowhead in it. You notice when I mouse over it, it says run the current script. So I'm going to click on run, okay? And it's going to ask me where do I want to save this program. And right now mine is going to put it in the downloads folder. You could create your folder yourself a folder for week 1, why don't we do that? I'm going to create it on my desktop. So I'm going to create myself a new folder for CSC-120 week 1. How about that? CSC-120 week 1. Okay? So now I've got a folder there, and I'm going to name this program hello.py. Now it's important to put the .py on the end of it. That's the way the computers know that it's a Python program. So again, I typed in hello.py, and when I click OK, Tawny's going to save that program here on my desktop in a folder named CSC-120 week 1, and it's going to run it, or try to. So I click OK, and you can see we just ran our first Python program. It printed out hello world. Okay? If you did something wrong, like forgot to put a quote there, a closing quote, and you try to run it, you can see you get a traceback error. Thonny actually shows you where it thinks the problem is, and you can see it thinks the problem is on line 1. If I click this blue underline link down there, it takes me to the line in the program where it thinks there's a problem. And you can see it says end of line found while scanning string literal. So it actually kind of told us that we need to put that quote there so that our string literal is finished out. And so now I have fixed it. I can just try running it again, and you can see that it worked. So that's our first Python program. Congratulations, you've just run your first computer program. Sweet, huh? Okay, so if you want to learn more about how the print function works, there's actually material out there. Let me show you the folder or the website for our class where I have all my lectures out there. It's rccc.com/CSC120 and another slash. So this will take you to the site for our class, and it's got every single lecture out there. It's also searchable, where if you're trying to find an answer to something, you can actually search on it here. So I told you that there was material out there about how to use the print function in Python. You see what number 4 is? The print function. If you click on that, you can see that this wouldn't work, would it? It gives us a traceback error. Then it shows you how to fix it. Okay? And so then it shows you about all these different things that you can do with the print function. So there's a whole bunch more that we could do with the print function that I haven't talked about here in our first video. But I wanted to show you the site for the class and where you could go read about it. Of course, there's the link to the free online textbook too. Okay, so that's our site for the class that has a lot of my lectures, but the free textbook and the material out there. Okay, and again, it's got a search function where you could search the whole thing. So I know you can do well in this class. We have some of the best success ratios of anybody teaching programming in the whole state of North Carolina. So I know you can do well. Doing well in the class is just doing the work. All your grade is just a total of points. So don't get upset the first week of class if you go out there and you see that you've got a grade of, say, 15 or 18 or something, because that just comes, you get points for everything you do in the class. That grade cannot go down unless you send in somebody else's work. If you send in somebody else's work, then you can lose 10 points. I give everybody that that starts the class, I give you 10 points right off the bat. That is me saying that you're going to be honest and you're going to turn your own work in. You're going to turn your own work in. Every project for the class has things that are specific to you in that project. If you turn somebody else's work in, I'll find it, and you can lose those 10 points that I gave you. So remember, right now, when you started the class, you already have a grade of 10 because I gave you 10 points for saying that you're going to do your own work. You're going to be honest. If you turn somebody else's work in, you lose those 10 points. You lose those 10 points. So make sure you turn your own work in. Remember, everything that you do earns you points in the class. So that's our first week. Congratulations on taking the class. I'm really glad that you're here. Python is the best language ever to learn to make computers do things. So have a great week, and remember, just have fun. The quizzes in the course orientation folder, you can do 5 times. It's only going to use the highest grade out of those 5 times. So the icebreaker you can only do 1 time, but remember, you can go in and out of that thing and look up the answers on the course syllabus. So good luck, and remember that Project 1 is due this week also. You can go into course content, go down to Module 1, go into the Module 1 assignments, and right here's the folder for Project 1. If you click into that folder, you will see that it's got screenshots of what you need to do, but then there's a video right here that walks you through doing the whole thing. So there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do Project 1. I do the whole thing for you in this video. All right, good luck, and have a great first week of classes here at RCCC. Take care.